Zia, thank you, and I have to say very fortunate to have a chairman of such extraordinary intellectual ability as, I'm going to call him young Zia, because he really is young, in his 30s, and he's dedicated himself to this cause over the course of the last 6 months in the most astonishing way. And we're bringing tech into the way we run our political party in a way I don't think the Labour and Conservative parties can even begin to understand. And you'll hear a lot more about the way we want Britain to be for the 21st century as we run towards the next general election. I'm here today because over the years, well, over more than 30 years, I've regularly put myself up for election because that's how we do things. We have elections. We have up to set periods of time, and we judge those we voted for, whether we think they've done well or badly, and we have the ability to remove them. In fact, it was, if anything, the key motive behind voting for Brexit. 4 years ago, on the first Thursday in May, we had a big set of county council elections. 20 million people were eligible to vote, and it was a massive landslide for the Conservative Party. Boris Johnson was absolutely on the highs. They even managed to win the Hartlepool by-election on the same day. But a lot has changed since then. And not the usual ping-pong that perhaps we've seen mostly since 1918, of it being Labour, Tory, Labour, Tory. There is something of a difference, a change in the political weather, if you may. So I'm standing here today to say we think it is completely outrageous. In fact, despite the fact we're a very happy, optimistic, forward-looking party, we are blooming angry this afternoon that 5.5 million people in this country are being denied their vote on May the 1st this year. And we've got counties like Surrey and East Sussex and West Sussex and Suffolk and Hampshire where elections have been cancelled. Where we are particularly aggrieved is in Norfolk, where we did win the seat of Great Yarmouth. Even under first past the post, we still run the seat of Great Yarmouth in the general election. And in Essex, where James McMurdoch and I both managed to win seats in Parliament, where we came second in 5 of the constituencies, and where the opinion polls now put us as favourites to win Essex County Council. But the voters in Essex and Norfolk and Sussex and Hampshire and the Isle of Wight and Thurrock and Suffolk and Norfolk, they will be denied the opportunity to vote on May the 1st this year. The elections are cancelled. Now, I thought that only dictators cancelled elections, but no, this is the connivance of a now terrified Labour Party, and boy, didn't we see that today at Prime Minister's questions. And I was being shouted down from all sides. It was almost like old days in the European Parliament. I was thoroughly enjoying myself. And Conservative-led councils, who of course want to keep their money rolling for at least another couple of years. How long the cancellations last, whether it's 1 year or 2 years or more, we don't know. What we do know is that the reorganisation of local government is going to take up to 3 years to complete. And given that a term for a county councillor is 4 years, there is absolutely no justification for cancelling the elections of 5.5 million people other than the cowardice of the existing political class. And that's why we've launched our petition on this, which nearly 250,000 people have signed already. We are blooming angry. This is wrong. The political weather has changed in local government over the course of the last 4 years, and people deserve to have a say. So we'll fight hard and campaign in the areas that are still happening. There are 6 mayoralties being contested as well on the same day. We've announced 1 candidate so far. The candidate for Hull will be announced in a couple of weeks' time, and the rest will follow in good time. We will put up a candidate in every single district that is up in the unitaries and the counties that are fighting on May the 1st. We'll fight all 6 of the mayoralties, and I believe that what will happen on May the 1st is you'll see the opinion polls, which some could say are theoretical, and you'll see that, I think, come into practice. I'm also aware that we've perhaps been leading the way on the debate over the surrender of the sovereignty of the Chagos Islands. I'm aware that the Labour Party suddenly think we want to charge everybody £50,000 for a GP appointment, and we'll answer that. I'm also aware, having made this statement this afternoon, of our intent and our upset at what's happening to 5.5 million people, that unlike Kemi Badenoch or Sir Keir Starmer, Zia and I, who are at the helm of running this party, our MPs who are in the front row, are not afraid to have a press conference where any of you, whether you're considered to be favourable media or unfavourable media, have the chance to ask any question you want. So let it commence, but I'll make it very, very clear that we do not think that elections being cancelled is the right thing 4 years on from a Conservative landslide. The two parties have colluded so that people can keep paid jobs for another couple of years. It's wrong at every level, and I certainly know that in the counties affected, the vast majority of people will agree with us. Thank you.
Okay, so in the spirit of that, we'll now take some questions. Yes, please. Please state the organisation that you're from and your name, please.
Is it really the best use of public cash to hold elections for authorities that are about to be abolished?
Given that it's going to take 3 years for the reorganisations to be in place, and that is 75% of the lifetime of the next term of local councils, and given that these radical changes are happening without any public consultation whatsoever, and by the way, I've got severe reservations about small, more rural district councils being swallowed up by unitaries that will be governed by the bigger towns or bigger cities, then yes, absolutely, it is ludicrous that we should extend the term, and in many cases on county councils, particularly cabinet, people who are quite well paid from the public purse. It is absolutely ludicrous that we don't take a temperature test of where public opinion is and have an open debate and consultation about local government. I mean, do people actually want their local district council to be abolished? Do people think that a mayor going over 3, maybe even 5 unitaries in Essex is the right thing? And let's be clear, the Labour manifesto was not explicit in any way about these changes. So yes, let's make the reorganisation of local government. And by the way, we're talking now about elderly care. We're talking now about children with disabilities. We're talking about potholes. And I'm not joking, actually something that affects the lives of millions of people. County councils have big budgets. County councils matter. County councils affect the daily lives of, 20 million people in the case of this set of elections. Yes, we should have new councillors, fresh open debate about these so-called reforms or changes. There is no justification for cancelling these elections whatsoever, other than sheer cowardice of what reform might do to them in those campaigns.
Yes, please, the gentleman there.
Thank you. Hugo Jai from the iPaper. Nigel, you mentioned planning to stand candidates in every district council. Does that mean standing candidates in every single seat that is going up for election, every single individual council seat? Do you know roughly how many people that would be and how many you've got in place already?
So the original offering was for 2,216 seats to be up on May the 1st. Obviously, we didn't know until lunchtime today which ones have been cancelled, so I don't have the exact, to the nearest sort of 10 calculation, but it means us putting up 1,500 candidates. And I am absolutely promising, the chairman might wince, but I'm absolutely promising that we will put up a candidate in every single district that is up, because we think that Reform Now is the opposition in this country to the Labour Party. The Conservatives have self-surrendered that position by their own performance and behaviour. We want everybody to have the vote the chance, the opportunity to vote for us. So yes.
Yeah, I would just add to that, far from wincing, that is, as chairman, I'll tell you, that is what we are here to do. As if we want to be the next party of government in the United Kingdom, the least we could do is ensure that every British person who is going to the ballot box has a Reform candidate to vote for. And to put that achievement in context, and we've been working incredibly hard, by the way, nobody more so than Nigel. I think it's really important to say that I know Nigel's this consummate performer in front of the media and has got this huge social media following, but I'll tell you, the majority of his time since I've become chairman, the majority of time since the general election, he has put into doing all the boring but incredibly important stuff if you actually want to win elections in a first-past-the-post system. So as Nigel said, just over 2,200 seats were due to be up in May. That is now as a result of the appalling cancellations that have been announced today. It's going to be about 1,600. In May last year, Reform UK stood in 7% of the seats that were up, and that was without a vetting process, as all of you will know. And so so now we have while it will not be perfect, the most thorough vetting process of any party. I think I'd say that with confidence and conviction, certainly at the council level. And we will stand, I'll tell you as chairman, we will stand in every single one of those 1,600 seats. It's critically important that we give every single citizen of the United Kingdom eligible to vote the chance to vote for a Reform candidate in May. Yeah, please.
Thank you. I'm going to ask on a different topic, if that's okay. Donald Trump says he wants to take over Gaza and turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East. Do you agree?
I love ambition. The thought of a wealthy, wonderful, thriving place with well-paid jobs, casinos, nightlife. I mean, it sounds very appealing to me. I'm not here to answer on behalf of everything the Trump administration has to say. What I will say is he's got off to the most extraordinary start as US president. And promises made, promises kept, quite extraordinary. We do realise that after 2029 we will not quite have the same presidential powers that the President of the USA has. So without being specific on Gaza, I would just say I think he's off to the most incredible start. You've witnessed international brinkmanship on a level perhaps never seen before. And the surrender after surrender that you get, whether it's from Canada or South American countries, Panama, you name it, is amazing. He views tariffs, particularly tariffs, as a transactional tool. Does it amazingly effectively. He can go back to the American people and say, I've got a better deal, I've put you first. The worry, of course, is that if the Chagos deal continues, and when the Americans wake up to the lies they've been told by Jonathan Powell, that we'll be included in a tariff regime that comes from the European Union, well, I've got a feeling that whilst tariffs were used as a negotiating tool with Canada and Mexico, I've got a funny feeling that the tariffs that come from the European Union are intended to stick. And we will find ourselves caught in that regime if they think we've betrayed not just our national interest, not just their national interest, but the interest of the Western world against the ever-increasing naval encroachment of China. China.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Harry Hilton, ITV. On local elections, I think you've both said before that you were hoping to win hundreds of council seats at these upcoming local elections. How does the cancellation of some of these elections hamper your ability to demonstrate the progress that you say you've made? And secondly, if I may, on Prevent, the review into the Prevent loadings after Southport is out today, and it says that some individuals made the wrong subjective decisions. Do you think individuals involved in that should lose their jobs over the failings in that case? OK, as far as the elections are concerned, they are cancelling elections in some of the counties in which we'd expected to do the very, very best. Essex being, in a sense, number one on our hit list. Norfolk being not very far behind. And I'm not knocking our ability in Surrey or West Sussex or whatever it may be, I'm not. But certainly in Essex and Norfolk, I think we have every right to feel seriously aggrieved. As I say, our internal polling shows we're ahead.
in Essex, with maybe even a chance, of winning enough seats to certainly be in a governing or coalition governing position in that county. So we are really angry about this, but also, as I say, I've made the point already, every 4 years people are entitled to vote for who runs their local council. People are also entitled to be consulted about whether to get rid of the district. For example, tendering. I'm one of the MPs, along with Sir Bernard Jenkin, for tendering. Yeah, we've got Clacton, but Clacton's a town. Most of it is villages, small towns and rural. And yet we're going to be dragged in to a unitary authority where a big city, a big populace will dominate the debate. So it'll be an urban debate that dominates a rural community. So the idea this is devolution, that somehow is bringing power closer to the people, actually will operate in reverse. So I just think from every angle that we look at this, what is happening today is wrong. It's not been discussed, it's not been debated, but why not make it part of the election campaign running up to May the 1st, where different parties, Labour can stand and say, look, this is what we want to do. We can stand saying we don't agree with it, and the Tories can stand pretending they've got a foot in both camps. And that's pretty much where we are in British politics with most debates. No, I'm absolutely, this damages us. This decision damages us in terms of how we can perform on May the 1st. It's not to say we can't perform well.